Hey there, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the channel. It's another fun-filled episode of Ye Old Indie Dude, and this is episode number 13. This is a series where I touch on motivation and inspiration, especially for creative individuals, except we all use creativity in one way or another, and we could all use motivation. So these concepts can be more broadly applied, of course. I think this week I'm going to touch more on my own personal motivation throughout this time. Maybe go a little more in depth as to maybe my songwriting background, and then you'll have a little bit of a better idea of where my music comes from. First, especially when I was younger, I think my impetus was rage towards injustice, perceived injustice. Granted, I admittedly was expressing rage with an acoustic guitar. I'm so very bitter and angry. Of course, despair in and of itself can be motivational and provide its own sort of inspiration. It's not what you would call classically inspirational. But the memory is a powerful tool. I've often used that in times past to recount or process situations, whether moving beyond a situation or relationship or even the death of a loved one. Then too, there are songs of injustice relating on a larger scale. Of course, personal tragedy is pretty huge, not to minimize the power behind such writing at all. But to write about social injustice on a larger scale in a clever way has also been a great source of inspiration to me. This goes back to the power of words, I suppose, right? It's a sense of collective experience. I can take a feeling I have based on a situation and then apply it by way of metaphor in order to broaden the application of understanding towards the more universal. What did he say? Of course I have examples. Let's take it simply. Let's think about the sky. It's one of those sort of things that's so cliche it really doesn't have to be explained, perhaps. But so many writings have conveyed emotion by using words that evoke imagery of the sky. Why? Because we can all relate to this in one way or another, because it's the way the sky looks elicits similar feelings in a wide variety of people. For example, what feelings do you get when you look out onto a cloudy sky? Oftentimes in classical poems and song, a cloudy sky will represent a sense of the forlorn, the foreboding, the gloomy, the despondent, the downtrodden, a negative emotion or situation, melancholy, leaning towards the mysterious or towards the negative. On the other hand, what feelings do you get when you look out onto a sunny day? Opposite to the depictions of a cloudy sky, the sunny sky oftentimes elicits feelings of hope, happiness, satisfaction, love, and generally positive emotions. Oh, but if you use both references at the same time, it gets more and more exciting. I've got a perfect tune for that, to reference this. It's a song I wrote from my first LP called Retrospect. The LP was redefining the parameters. As much as I love to plug my stuff, I'm talking about certain word usages, their references, inferences of universality. For example, the sun comes shining through the clouds, or the stars come shining through the darkness. You can certainly envision the physical reality because it relates to common experience. What's also common are feelings these realizations evoke. When you think of the sun shining through the clouds, it evokes feelings of things improving. When you think of stars shining through the darkness, it evokes a realization of a sense of the beautiful within a greater scope of the word darkness, like the darkness of experience. Speaking of darkness, the content herein notwithstanding, that this is being recorded nearing mid-October of 2020. No one's ever going to forget this year. Whomever's left after it's all said and done. How's the pandemic affected you? It's a loaded question, isn't it? How's it affected me? Oh, well, you know, it's just fine. I'm totally centered, totally focused. I'm kidding. It's far from the case. Of course, I'd probably say only the fairly wealthy have more of an isolation cocoon from the ravages the pandemic has wrought. However, it's affected everyone and everything. It's obviously a great deal of stress to contend with at all times in trying to make any sort of plans, especially since, though I'm extremely grateful for and do enjoy some small notoriety and success as a musician, performing, recording, producing, marketing, etc. with running Bucketstomp Productions. This was still only a part-time job for me. So in the last 6 years, while raising a family at the same time, I've written, recorded, and produced 8 full-length LPs, an EP, several singles, and performed over 50 as well, though I didn't have a lot of time left for promotion and marketing considerations. Still, I had a distinct sense of balance. I had a lot of fulfillment and purpose going on, despite difficulties in life most of us face all the time. Faucet breaks, car problems, malfunctions of life and such. And then the pandemic. Dun dun dun. Of course, all the gigs I had lined up were instantly postponed, which we all really know by now really means canceled or really postponed, like a lot, several times, and then, well, maybe next year. We were in lockdown, so I did what most people did during that time. Went out and for some reason bought a year's worth of toilet paper. No. I tried to be a comfort to my family, of course. A positive influence. As an entertainer, I thought it was important to extend that to a broader audience, the whole world, by way of live online presentations. I started doing the lunchtime quarantine sets with my oldest son, Jace. A lot of fun. He's an incredible musician in his own right. A great songwriter. He has his own band called The Bakers. I'll put a link to his material down below. Some of the other homebound brood was able to help out with photography and artwork as well, so I got a lot of people involved in the house. Throughout this time, too, I was able to accomplish quite a lot. Not being one to be idle, of course, I both professionally or personally finished my new album, 2020, ahead of schedule, and so much more. And I finally began to learn a little bit about marketing. Not much, but I'm getting there. But after the first 3 months of this, I sort of expected that the world would get back to some semblance of normal life, It did not. It just got more and more surreal. I began to put my professional focus purely towards growing my company, Bucketstomp Productions. I feel a lot of encouragement in the progress I've been able to make regarding this, and with so much gratitude to so many people. Uncertainty does seem to be the predominant theme, though. This year, I guess I'll just tell the kids, I'm sorry, kids, Santa Claus died. Here's another favorite one. When I was a kid, my parents for Christmas would give me a stick with a piece of string. I had fun with that for hours on end. Of course, the stressors and the negatives involved in the entire experience of the era, as it seems sometimes like society itself is being reformatted, if not starting to crumble entirely. Let's hope not. I myself have taken to revisiting prayer and meditation, combined with breathing exercises and regularly scheduled exercise too. This has really helped me to maintain a less stressed out center, though it's certainly also not perfect. Throughout this time too, I've got to experience a great deal of helpful expertise from experienced YouTubers from all across the board, from contending with the world run amok, music theory, time management, marketing, promotion, and strategies as to how to keep going in this climate. Notice how I use the word climate. I'm not talking about the weather nor global warming. I mean the way this reality feels in general. A personal shout out to my friends at Twitter too. I found quite the cool community of like-minded producers and industry professionals there. We're ultimately very supportive and awesome. Made quite a few cross-platform friends too, who have been so encouraging by way of example, support, and advice. Thanks. How do you move forward when you don't know what's going to happen next? My method, or what I would say, is maintain your focus completely on the present moment. After that, it's just taking one step in front of the other. The future therefore unfolds. Don't give up hope. There will be a sunnier day on the horizon, even if it might prove to be a light at the end of a very long tunnel. Hopefully that light then isn't an oncoming train. Perhaps it will work out better than we think. Believe in yourself. Thank you for watching. It was a little bit more of an informal and personal episode this time. Please feel free to share your experiences throughout this time in the comments below. How have you been doing during these times? Thank you very much to everyone who has subscribed. A special welcome to new subscribers too. If you haven't subscribed, please be sure to click on the subscribe button below. Then click on the bell icon to be notified as to when I post new material. This channel has a lot of cool new original indie music, studio releases, live performances, live streams, online live performances, and special presentations. There's new stuff all the time. If you enjoy any of these posts, please click on the like button too, and tell people about the channel, please. The more I can grow my humble channel, the more content I can produce. Speaking of which, I'm in the studio this week, continuing work on material towards the new album, and also developing material for a collab I'm working on. So busy. But thank you again, and I'll see you next time.
Well, did you tell him to subscribe?
Yeah, please subscribe.
I can't believe you haven't subscribed yet.